Hey, what's up? Hey, what's going on? How are you?
I thought so. What are your thoughts now that James is here? What do you think he can just kind of add to the team, add to?
Oof, a lot. Obviously, we don't have him yet, so you have to wait and see. But he's a guy that creates his own shots, creates shots for others. Another guy on your team that gets double teamed, which is really valuable. And so when you have all that, you like it a lot.
Do you think that James was such a willing playmaker?
Yeah.
When he came to Brooklyn, that mindset of dominating the ball, that's kind of the thing that you're not worried about. Yes.
No, we'll figure that out. We want him to have the ball in his hands. We want Joel to have the ball. We want Tyrese, and it also takes care of the one issue that we had all year is a point guard. So. We should have a point guard on the floor at all times, which is obviously good for the team, but I think it's good for other guys so they can kind of play better. The Ferks and the Shakes now don't have to do the primary ball handling. I think that'll help both of them tremendously.
Are you worried at all about his hamstring at all?
Well, I'm not a doctor. So, really, I don't know. That's the stuff I just stay out of. I'm sure we've done our due diligence, and obviously health is health, and you can't get around that. So everyone is as good as they're healthy.
What is the timeline for James getting here, and then for you getting him into a game?
I don't know yet. The timeline is he'll be here soon, but as far as getting him into a game, we've had, I think we've had 3 conversations on the phone. We really haven't even talked about that yet. So I want to make sure he's right before we get him on the floor.
Disappointed that he's not here yet to kind of get acclimated to all you guys?
No. Not at all.
When did you first think that this was a real possibility?
I don't know. I probably over the last 2 or 3 days, you went, could happen, could not happen. I think even up until yesterday morning, it was trending towards not happening. Daryl and Elton, I tell you, they worked their butts off. They really did. They hung in there, and they kept pushing, and they got this done.
Well, last night, he talked to you in about 30 minutes was when the trade happened. So
Yeah.
just kind of what kind of going down to the wire, kind of what was
Yeah,
that like for you?
again, you guys are quicker than the trades. I was sitting in the room while Daryl and Sean was literally talking about players, and we read a report that the trade was done. And I was like, oh, wow. Then they should tell these 2 guys that right now, So it was what it was. It's what you think it was. You just guys are going back and forth, and finally, it was agreed upon.
He was talking about. I'm sorry. Yesterday he was talking about, heartbroken and stuff like that, and a sad time. What was it like with Seth?
Oh, before I think there were several guys that knew that this possibly could happen. Seth was, and I always say with Seth and Callie were clearly, informed. That was the one thing I think that, and a lot of times, as I say, you don't have a chance to inform guys soon enough. I thought that was the one thing, other than Drum. Drum was, that was so late, and like he never thought he was leaving. So, but the other guys, obviously Ben, and then Seth had a pretty good inkling that this could happen.
Did you talk to Ben, and for better or for worse, how do you feel about having this all behind you?
I'm glad it's behind us. Yeah, we had a long talk.
What was the gist of that?
It was a great conversation.
Coach, have you heard the noise outside, the expectations of the noise, that now it's a championship?
What's wrong with expectations, Howard?
No.
Yeah.
No, I'm okay with
Yeah.
that. But from your standpoint, how much pressure is there as the coach?
Let me repeat this one more time to you and everybody else. One more time. You and no one else can put more pressure on myself than I do. It will never happen. I'm in this to win. I've always been in this to win. And when you get into that, when you make that decision, you understand that there's going to be pressure with it, and there should be, because if it wasn't, everyone would be champions. So I think the reason we did this deal is so we could jump into the fray.
For as well as you guys have played, we talked yesterday about the fact that you guys kind of fought with less than your whole team. Now that you have James, you have this group together.
Yeah.
Do you think you have enough to get where you want to go?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I don't know. That's something we'll find out. You know, we did it with the belief we do. Obviously, I mean, losing Drum, we're going to probably look at the buyout market. You know, obviously you never know who's going to be in the buyout market these days. So we'll look at that, and the quicker we can get together, the better. Obviously, we don't have a lot of time. The Phoenixes of the world, and there's teams that in Milwaukee and Miami, they've been together, Milwaukee 4 years, as a group, and so we have to get it done quick.
Is it safe to assume that Tyrese would start next to James, and if so, what do you think he has to adjust to now that he won't be the primary point?
Well, it is safe to assume that for sure, and we'll see once we get on the floor. I think, if you watch this, Joel brings the ball up now. Tobias brings the ball up. Tyrese, brings the ball up. So, and James will too. There's a lot of visions we have as a staff, but you got to get on the floor. And so there's no reason for me to sit here and try to guess how we're going to play until once we get on the floor.
So it's safe to assume that it won't be just Tyrese or James bringing the ball up. It'll still kind of be a ball handler committee.
Oh yeah, that's very safe. That's been very effective. You wouldn't want to change that. Getting them off to the second side, I'll get to you. You just be patient over there. Getting to the second side with your primary guys is really effective offensively.
So when you got here, Doc, last year, there was a point of emphasis to kind of have Ben and Joel join at the hip in terms of their minutes.
Yeah.
Are you envisioning, especially because you guys have to accelerate this as quickly as you do, are you envisioning something like that? Or?
I don't know yet. I mean, James is such a veteran, where Ben and Joel, you're thinking more youth, grow, be together on the floor as much as possible. In this case, you're just going to try to figure out the best, two guys, meaning, between Tyrese and Tobias and Joel and James to have on the floor and who fits whom. And these are decisions of things I don't know yet.
Doctor, when you,
Two more
when
guys.
you left the Clippers, I heard you received the call, the first one, to go to Houston.
Yeah.
And was it James Harden who called you?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm assuming you guys have a...
Yeah, we do. I mean, my son played in Houston, and, I spent, a lot of time, especially during that one playoff series when they made it to the finals. I was out. We lost to Golden State, I think, if my memory serves me right. And so it was my first time since I've been in the NBA that I actually got to just sit in the crowd and watch basketball. But I was also around Houston, and, James, he's reached out to me several times about, coaching him. So now we have him.
One of the first things you said was you like the idea of having another guy that teams have to double.
Yeah.
As a coach, the idea of having Joel and James on the floor together,
Yeah.
potentially drawing 4 different people, and then your other options are Tobias and Tyrese.
And Tyrese and Ferg and Shake and even Isaiah Joe. I mean, honestly, it looks like you want. It really does. But I've been around long enough to know we got to get on the floor and see how everything works and how everything looks and who likes playing with each other and what kind of chemistry we have. And we'll have it. We'll get it because we have no choice. We have to. So we'll get it. It's just going to take a minute. All right, guys. Thank you.